Hello, brilliant and embodied souls. My name is Kim. Welcome back to my channel. I have a November update for all of you today. I want to give a personal update and talk a little bit about something that I have mentioned here or there on the channel, and that is my Oracle deck. So I want to tell you all just a little bit about what I'm up to. Then I, of course, want to share the decks that I have been working with and that have been really showing up for me this November. Finally, I want to share some books that have been captivating me and helping me really deepen into my spiritual practice and expanding how I think about what I do, why I do it, etc. So, November, this is my birthday month. I'm actually a Sagittarius. I'm a cusp kid. Happy birthday, Saggies. It's soon our season, or our season just started by the time I post this video. And my little Sagittarian self has been seeking. I have been reading lots and lots of great things, the decks, the books, that will come later. But I've just been feeling a lot of gratitude for my card practice, my spiritual practice, because man, this year has been really, really rough. Collectively speaking, personally speaking, it's been a slog. I've been combating a little bit of burnout, and that is maybe just par for the course, being a human and being a human in these really chaotic times of ours. So that's a little bit of where I'm at in terms of my heart space, my head space. My creative endeavor has really, really been showing up for me as well. So yes, the Oracle deck. This has been 5 years in the making. Yeah. It's been an odyssey, truly. It has taken me this long for a couple of reasons. One, the deck is going to be called the Rhythms of Resource Oracle. It's really about how we can use our bodies to resource ourselves, both physically, as well as psychologically, and spiritually. I talk about 5 embodied resource states and the different kinds of rhythms or movement oracles that can support these 5 ways of being. These 5 ways of being track to human development. So again, like you can see, or maybe you see, why this has taken me quite a while. It's founded in psychology. It's founded in my work as a somatic psychotherapist. So I really wanted to ground what I was offering people in research, in actually using some of the practices and principles, with clients and with myself, to make sure that things were really, really dialed in. So that took quite a while. Then, of course, creating the art. That actually went like quite quickly, all things considered. It's going to be a digital collage oracle. I will start to share more images on Instagram, so please consider following me on Instagram if you want to participate in the journey. It's going to take me a while to really put the deck out. I'm not finished. I'm really fine tuning things, but most of the artwork is done. I'm really just distilling what's in the guidebook. I actually started to write an entire book, pivoted to realize I want to make this an oracle. Kind of had to double back a little bit because of that decision. So yeah, it's been a journey. But the purpose of the oracle, right, is really helping people deepen their relationship with their body, uh, which has a lot of benefits, like psychological benefits, as well as spiritual benefits. So there's going to be practices that help people deepen into these 5 resource states, which are presence, play, purpose, persistence, and peace. And who doesn't want those embodied realities, right? So the deck guides people into those ways of being through different kinds of movement practices, as well as some visualizations and a few other types of practices. So again, if you want to be part of this, please check me out on Instagram. I'll be sharing a little bit more there. And then I'll continue to provide updates here on YouTube. And, when I'm ready, I will absolutely share the deck with all of you. It'll be a process of rolling this out. Yeah, I'm super, super excited. It's been such a long time coming, and I feel so good sharing this with all of you right here, right now. It's time. It's time to start bringing other people into the mix. Creativity is, so, it's done in a solitary way, and yet, right, it can't come into the light within a vacuum. We need each other, the support of our community, people who can give us feedback and help us grow in our creative endeavors. That's my update. Let's move into the decks, shall we? Let me take a sip of coffee. And, of course, Circle of Doors is always on the table. So I won't go into that, but, just want to acknowledge its place in my heart. This fall, because of the burnout, because of some of what I had mentioned, I really felt called to get a deck that feels very magical, mystical, but folksy. So I purchased the Folklore Oracle from a local witchy shop, which was new to me. I just discovered this witchy establishment in my neighborhood, so I'm so excited that more people are joining there's more like minds popping up where I live. That's really exciting to me. This deck is great. I really enjoy the artwork by Giada Rose. She did the Seasons of the Witch Oracle, the first couple of oracles in that series. I don't own those oracles because I'm not Wiccan. I don't subscribe to the Wheel of the Year. Where I live in Northern California, the land just asks for something totally different. So the Wheel of the Year just doesn't quite track to my practice. If it tracks for you, that would be great, because those decks are really cool. They look really amazing. I loved Giada Rose's artwork. So when this oracle came onto the market, I knew I wanted to bring it into my collection. I really enjoy the guidebook. I also really like the questions that you find on the bottom of the card. So for example, mirror, what do you see reflected back to you? Healing herbs. We have, what practical magic arises from within? Curse. What dark energy can you cast off? This is a great example of this deck not being like totally love and light, which we can sometimes get with mass market oracle decks. This has some teeth, and I really like an oracle deck that brings the full spectrum to the table, quite literally. I don't want just hugs and kisses. I mean, don't get me wrong, sometimes I do, but I like a little bit of like, what am I gonna get? And if a deck just offers that light and love type of message, I find myself a touch bored. So this is not a boring deck. I find it has some teeth. Folklore and fairy tales have a sinister element to them, don't they? There are nasty characters in a lot of folklore and fairy tales. This deck gets at some of those more challenging aspects of our lives. It has made friends with the Solera Occulto Tarot. I really, really love this deck at this time of the year. It is incredibly autumnal. Let me grab some of the cards for all of you. It's a RWS clone. So you're not gonna get wild, unique depictions of the cards in this deck, but you are going to get this beautiful color palette, which is very pumpkin spice. It feels oh so September, October, November. You also get these really whimsical creatures. I adore the figures in this deck. The artwork is very folksy, which is why I thought these two decks would go really, really well together. And they kind of do. I mean, I'd say that, it could have been a little bit better, but check that out. A little bit better of a pairing. Or I'd hoped it would be just a titch better, but I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. Both have, more condensed color palettes. So when I just lay down one of the Folklore Oracle cards with several of the Solera Occulto Tarot cards around it, it just looks really, really good. I really, really like what comes together. Oops, sorry about that. With these decks. Both of them feel very, there's this nice tension, as I said, between being very friendly and approachable, and then being kind of spicy and a little mischievous. Both decks feel incredibly mischievous. Oh dear. My setup is getting a little wild and crazy over here. Yeah, I'm just really liking how they read together. Even if the artwork isn't totally perfect, I really like the interplay of the messages. They have really been singing from the same songbook for me. And even though both decks have just a touch of a bite, they offer very manageable, palatable readings that I can ingest, that don't totally overwhelm me or blow me out, Okay, let's move on to another tarot deck that has wanted to come forward, and that is the Hush Tarot, another mass market beauty. This deck is so death and decay, very, very autumnal. It's been calling to me because of one of the themes that I really pick up on in this deck, and that is the theme of loss of innocence. There's a lot of broken toys within this deck. Let me see if I can find an example for us. Here we go. There's lots of carousel images. The deck feels like an invitation to mature and grow up. It's a deck that asks us and asks me to grow up, essentially, right? We're moving from one phase of life into another. We have decisions to make. We have circumstances to deal with that are in service of our personal growth and development. In order to grow, sometimes we really do need to let go of certain identities, narratives. This deck is very, very much about that for me. It functions that way by virtue of its artwork. It's not a typical RWS, Marseille, Thoth deck. It has its own visual language, its own symbolic invitations. So you really have to slow down and listen to the voice of this deck. So even in the way it functions, it's asking for something different to be cultivated in the person working with the deck. This deck does not want me to rest on my laurels. It wants me to, as I said, move into more mature ways of being. And I can feel that happening within myself. I'm stepping into new professional capacities, right? New ways of being in choosing to put myself and my creations out there more. That's scary. I have to admit to you all, that's a touch terrifying. And this deck is showing up for me in a little bit of that tarot. Terror. The tarot helps my terror. Yeah. The oracle that has wanted to play with the Hush Tarot is the Illuminated Earth Oracle, which is a independently produced deck by Claire Mack. This is so moody, but it has some neutrality. It's not gonna wallop you over the head with really intense messages. This deck functions as a great clarifier. It does not have a massive, intense guidebook. It really serves a purpose through the keywords, which are very, very expansive, and the beautiful art. It's collage art that has a lot of texture in it. It feels very autumnal because of the artwork and color palette. It really is a very versatile deck. I'd say it's a classic in a way. I know a lot of people really, really love this deck, and rightly so. It goes with a lot of decks in my collection. It loves to read for others. When I lay out the cards, I just get instant hits about what is intuitively wanting to come through in a reading. And as I said, you don't have to sit down with a guidebook to really get those messages. It's very, very functional just by virtue of the images, which is a really nice feature, again, when you're reading for others. Not that I'm opposed to dipping into a guidebook when I read for other people. I'm not opposed to doing that, but sometimes that's not warranted, and you just want to be in the flow of the reading. This deck supports that. So I have found myself reaching for this deck when I read for others as of late. And it's loving its friendship and relationship with the Hush Tarot. They get along oh so well. Another oracle deck that has wanted to come forward is the Magical Botanical Oracle. This is not a deck that I read for others with because of the chunky guidebook. I like the guidebook. I want to spend time with the guidebook. I think it's really, really well written. Here's my girl. Agate. It's a magical botanical deck. I adore the artwork by Maxine Miller. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. It feels so Victorian and intricate, mysterious, occult. Yeah, I just look at the images and I feel the essence of the plant spirits. My one critique of this deck is a lack of keywords. You just get the name of the plant. You know, sometimes you get the Latin name. That doesn't really help me a heck of a lot because I'm so new to working with plants. My knowledge is just so remedial. You know, so when I get poppy, I mean, that's actually like not the best example. Like I know a lot about poppies, but you know, like fly angelica, like I don't know anything about that. So I really have to drop into the guidebook to understand what I'm working with. Christopher Penczak wrote the guidebook. I really enjoy the guidebook, but it's a me deck. It's not one that I bring out for other folks. But it has called. I like working with plant energy throughout the year, but the artwork is just so of the season. And that's why it's really, really wanted to come forward. Okay, let me talk about this amazing deck, the Conjunction Tarot. This is my most anticipated tarot deck of the year. It was a Kickstarter campaign. I have a full review of this deck up on the channel. If you feel drawn to the artwork, definitely go check out the review. This is a wallop of a deck. This is intense, folks. This is a very, very intense deck. It's incredibly occult, very, very esoteric. It has a lot of big energy. I would say cosmic universal energy flowing through it. It's so beautiful. The artwork is incredibly dense. There's little hidden gems everywhere in this deck. The symbolic language that the creator developed is beyond immaculate. The guidebook is very, very good. It reminds me of the Marielle guidebook. It's not as extensive, you know, the artwork is very different between the two decks, but you know, that expansive, occult, like deep wisdom that bubbles up through the Marielle feels like it's bubbling up through and down, bubbling up and down through this deck. The creator took 9 years to finish the deck. So that gives you a sense, like this is a deep deck, folks, really, really deep. And when I said it has cosmic and universal energy, you can see what I'm talking about here in this Eight of Discs. We've got some alien consciousness coming through this deck. In my review, I mentioned how the personality of this deck feels very much like a professor who studied mathematics, theoretical physics, as well as the occult and deep esoteric wisdom through the ages, then somehow built a tesseract. You know the reference if you know. Took the tesseract to various places around the universe, had all kinds of adventures, met various alien species, spent time with those aliens, learned magic from those aliens, and then came back to Earth and made this tarot deck. That's what is going on here, at least for me. It's wild. It's a trippy deck. It is so beautiful. It is very much an amalgamation of human wisdom, human magic, but combined with something way beyond what is just happening on planet Earth. Its friend has been the Oracle of the Micro Patterns. It also goes with the magical Botanical Oracle, but this deck is where it's at in terms of a pairing. This is a strange deck, everybody. Very strange. We've got mirrored photography. Oh, sorry, my light's picking up. It's very, very earthy, but also very, very cosmic. There's something wild and psychedelic going on here. You can scry with the images, which is really what I recommend in working with this deck. The images do a lot for you if you just sit with them and scry. Very powerful messages come through this deck, especially alongside the conjunction tarot. They are conjoining to drop me into magical realms that I am being blown away by. One thing to note about this oracle deck is the guidebook. I don't necessarily subscribe to some of the information conveyed in the guidebook, so I really use its material and offerings with a massive grain of salt. So just be aware of that. The guidebook is not going to be for everybody. I really like the images though. The images are deeply, deeply powerful. All right, I think those are the decks. Yeah, that concludes the decks that have been calling to me this November. Let's turn our attention to books. And the books will make quite a bit of sense coming off of the last two decks ish. This summer, I fell down a wild rabbit hole into this book, Tantra Illuminated. I was doing a yoga teacher training last year and started to feel this odd tension that was very perplexing to me that I wanted to investigate. My investigation led me to this book. The tension that I'm speaking to is the fact that yoga had a very meditative and body denying origin. So a lot of the Vedic origins really have dualistic messaging. For example, Maya, this is all an illusion. We need to escape what is happening right here, right now, and transcend into nirvana, as an example. And I realize that this is very simplistic, okay? Like what I'm saying is a massive oversimplification of philosophy, cosmology, that is, and phenomenology, right? That is so beautiful and so intricate. So I just want to name that. But when you do a yoga teacher training, they have you read Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, and that text is actually a very body denying text. So I was scratching my head because, that's not really what I experience in yoga. So that got me thinking, what's going on here? Fell down this rabbit hole, right? Listened to a bunch of really, really interesting podcasts about the history of yoga. It's really complicated, very complicated. It would warrant video upon video upon video, okay? But there is this other stream that I was picking up on, right? And it is the more tantric stream that came through Hatha yoga-ish. That's complicated as well. Needless to say, I was on the hunt for non-dual practices that are body affirming, that are very much about learning how to be with our embodied realities. Like that is obviously what I'm about here. I don't feel like transcendental religions and philosophies help our planet and help us exist here on our planet. We have to figure out how to be here. And that's what non-dual religions and philosophies offer us. And this book really helped me understand that through the tantric lineage. And by the way, I'm not talking about neo-tantra. This is classical Indian Tantra, which began in the Middle Ages. Okay, so just so you're all aware. Okay, so you can see this is a very, very deep rabbit hole. I love learning about this, but I don't necessarily want to practice Tantra for a variety of reasons, which I will not get into. I want to find non-dual thinking and philosophy and practice within the Western tradition. And I was curious, does that exist? I didn't know this summer if that existed. So I went on another rabbit hole and came across this book, Hellenic Tantra by Gregory Shaw. This is a book about theurgy and the philosophy of Iamblichus, who was a Neoplatonist philosopher who lived at, maybe like the end of the 300s, early 400s. Don't quote me on that, in the Common Era. So this book really helped me think about a non-dual tradition that is coming out of Platonic philosophy and how that actually took roots in that time period I just described through the teachings of Iamblichus. And Iamblichus really wanted us to, and his students and the folks he was interacting with at that time, to be here right now. He was very body affirming. His take on theurgy is very much about rituals and practices that help us tap into our divine selves. And that is my jam. He is a man after my own heart. Or I'm a woman after his. You get what I'm saying. Gregory Shaw is a really, really wonderful writer. He knows his stuff. This is a very well-conceived, well-researched book. Just like Tantra Illuminated, both of these books are fantastic. They are written by academics, so they are quite dense. I've really been taking my time ingesting both of these books. I might do a shelves collide with this book where I'll talk more about it. If you want me to do that, please let me know in the comments. But both of these books really warrant, again, video upon video upon video, because of the wisdom that is coming through both texts. I feel like I've reclaimed something in myself having read this book and finding a thread of non-dual tradition that can be teased out, because Neoplatonic ideas did very much influence Christianity. And in an attempt to maybe undo some of what Christianity has indoctrinated within myself, I've wanted to find a thread that I can grasp hold of that makes sense to my Western, European American mind, and yet takes me out of some of the conditioning that is a result of being raised within a Christian context. And that's no shade to anybody within that context. I'm just speaking about me, what I want and what I need. All of the body denying stuff found within Christianity just doesn't work for me. But this does. Okay, and then finally, I have this book, Hecate Soteria. This is by Sarah Iles Johnston. This is, of course, about my girl, and it does very much relate to Hellenic Tantra, because the Neoplatonists took a lot of inspiration from the Chaldean oracles. And of course, that's what this book is about, Hecate's presence and role within the Chaldean oracles. I have not started to read this book yet. I'm still finishing Hellenic Tantra. I'm almost finished. I will then turn my attention to this gem. I love learning about practitioners, modern and ancient, who have worked with Hecate. What do their practices look like? What are they up to? How do they experience her? What are their relationships like with her? I find that so valuable and fascinating because it is a kind of signpost or multiple signposts towards my relationship with her. Now, just to be clear, my relationship with Hecate is not one of reconstruction. She's made it very clear she does not want me to be trying to reconstruct practices from the ancient world. She herself is very much about going beyond the beyond. So she's kind of like, I'm beyond how people saw me back then, right? She's constantly reinventing herself. Uh, she's kind of the Madonna of deity. I mean, she's so much more than that, but you know, she is, she has a very big and expansive prerogative. Let's put it like that. And I'm very excited to get into this particular book because the author is also an academic who has studied the Chaldean oracles. I believe Dr. Johnson has also done a lot of Neoplatonic philosophy. So it's right in this really interesting philosophical wheelhouse that I have somehow found myself in. Yeah, it's been kind of a strange and wild ride around here. Yeah. Uh, that does it, folks. That is my November update. What's been on my desk, what I've been thinking about doing, working with. Thank you so much for being here. Please let me know down in the comments what decks you are working with, what concepts were of interest to you in this video. I would love to hear from all of you. Thank you so much for being here, and I am sending you so much love until the next video. Bye for now.